Hello guys, Alan here and welcome to the most authoritative Revit tutorial channel you can ever find on YouTube. And before we get into what we have to do in today's video, I want to take a minute to congratulate anyone, alright? If you are watching this video and you are subscribed to my channel, I'd want to say congratulations. You have joined the 1% passionate Revit lovers all over the world. And to those of you who are watching and haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe, because the only history that is worth a damn is the history that you make today by subscribing to my channel, Alan Architectural. And make sure you turn on the post notification bell up so that you don't miss out on advanced studies that I'll have to show and teach you guys on Revit. Alright, so make sure you subscribe to this channel and join the 1% passionate Revit lovers all over the world. So in today's video, I'm going to be teaching or dropping a tutorial on how we can actually design a kitchen inside of Revit. Alright, so it's going to be a design series on a kitchen inside of the Revit software. So before I get started in anything, I want to explain some things to you guys. Alright, so this is Revit's interface. Alright, so this is the interface you're kind of going to get when you open Revit up. Alright, so I'm going to head straight into any of the elevation views, and we have level 1 and level 2. Alright, so I'm going to go back into my ground floor plan, and then I'm going to select my wall. So I'm just going to create like a simple space where we are going to use to design our kitchen. So I'm going to get into the architecture tab, get to this ribbon, get the architecture tab, and then click on my wall right there. So I'm going to select my generic 200 mm wall, and then I'm just going to draw out a space in there. I'm just going to draw a simple space in there as well. I'm going to come all the way somewhere around here, and then bring this all the way here and take this here. Alright, okay, so this is how I want the layout of my kitchen to be. Okay, so let me just push this somewhere here, and let me just click on this, and I want this to be just 5 meters. I'm going to make this 5 meters, and I want this to also be 5 meters. Okay, let me make this 7 meters in there, and this is perfect. This is 4. Okay, so this is okay. All right, so this is going to be our kitchen layout. So we are going to have our kitchen designed somewhere around here, and then I'm going to use this space as a curtain wall. All right, I'm going to use that space as a curtain wall. Let me just move this in there a little, and let me move this also in here as well. I'm going to draw a line in there to kind of like find that button right there. All right, okay, so this is perfect. This is perfect. I'm going to leave it as it is. I'm going to delete that line out of there. Just select it and DE, hit on AL on your keyboard, and then just make sure you align this together, and then we lock it in right there. Alright, so this is what we have. I'm going to select everything, and then I'm going to make sure I check my top constraint. Alright, so I want all my walls to go all the way up to level 2. Let me just check that on my elevation view. So you have all my walls on level 2. Head into the 3D view, and this is what we have. Okay, so I'm going to hide all these levels in there, select all EH in there, and I'm going to turn on my shadows. So I'm going to turn on my shadow view to kind of have a realistic view of what I have in there, and head back to level 1, and I'm going to draw my floor slab in there as well. So I'm going to draw my floor slab. Let me just use the 150 mm generic wall, and I'm going to use the pick line too. So I'm going to draw an outer wall floor slab in there. Let me just drop this here. So trim and extend all sides to each other. So just going to trim and extend all sides. This is trimmed together. Perfect. So I'm going to hit on finish and head into the 3D view to see what I have in there. Okay, so this is perfect. Alright, so we are going to start modeling our kitchen. We are going to start designing our kitchen. Now, one more thing I would like you guys to have, or I'd like you guys to know, is that in designing a kitchen, alright, so there are several types of kitchen layout designs you can actually employ in whatever design you are actually doing. So let me just put out this image in there. So I have this in here. So there are several types of kitchen. So we have the one line type, we have the one line wall type of kitchen where you are only going to see, or you are going to see all your refrigerators, your sink, and then your gas top cooks all in one line. All right, all are going to be on a one line, which you are going to find that type of design mostly in studio apartments. All right, so with the one line wall type, it has its pros and cons. All right, so one of the advantage of the one line is that when it comes to services, you are going to have all your pipe works and all your services all are going to be on just a wall. All right, so we have the one line type, we have the one wall type, we have the two line, we have the two wall type as well, we have the L shape, we have something that's the L shape. So this is what I mean by the L shape. So this looks like the L shape in there, and then we have the U shape. So this is what I mean by the U shape. This is also the U shape. So this is a type of the kitchen layout design you can actually employ when you are designing. So we have the U shape, and then we have the island design. So this is what I mean by the island design. So this is what we have in there by the island, and this is also an island as well. This is also an island as well. So we can employ all these types in our design. It depends on the kind of structure you are actually designing. All right, so now someone is going to ask me, you see these imaginary lines in there looking like a triangle. So that's one thing you need to have in mind. That's one and the most important thing you need to identify. We call it the kitchen work triangle. All right, so this imaginary line you see there is what we call the kitchen work triangle. So it actually have to identify three parts when you are designing your kitchen. So those three parts are your sink, your refrigerator, and your gas cooktops. All right, so I'm going to repeat that again. You actually need to identify three parts in your kitchen layout. It is your sink, your gas cooktops, and then your refrigerators. All right, so you need to make sure those three parts are in sync and they form a triangle. All right, so you can see it in there. The imaginary lines, the hidden lines are used to represent that. So we call this the kitchen work triangle, and in designing your kitchen you must make sure that nothing obstructs this triangle. All right, so you must make sure a person is able to move with ease from the gas cooktops to the refrigerator and also to the sink in a triangular form. All right, so you can see it in there with the hidden lines shown in there. So this is the kitchen work triangle. You can Google that and read more about that. So you must make sure nothing obstructs the kitchen work triangle. You must make sure the person is able to flow with ease in any of the kitchen types that you are going to employ in your design. You need to make sure nothing obstructs that triangle in there, except for the one wall type design. All right, with a one wall type design you are just going to have everything on a straight wall, so we can't actually employ that kitchen work triangle. But for any other type is where you have to actually employ this kitchen work triangle and make sure everything is in sync and forming a triangle and nothing obstructs that triangle. All right, so we are going to start designing. So like I said, I'm going to design like an island type of kitchen. So I'm going to put this away and I'm going to start. So let me head back into level 1 and let me just create my curtain wall in there. So I'm going to get back into my wall, scroll all the way down, and then select my curtain wall, and I'm going to draw this somewhere around here. So I'm going to pull this to about 6 meters in there, and I'll have to cut that. So get into modify, click on your cut tool right there, click on the wall, and then just click on that curtain wall right there and head back into the 3D view, select that, and your top constraint, I'm going to send that to level 2, but I'm still going to bring it down. By the way, I'm still going to bring that down as well. I'm going to bring it somewhere around here. So this is perfect, and I'm going to add my mullions to it. So let me just add my mullions, head back into the architecture tab, and then put my mullions on the side, and then on this side as well. So you can follow through if you don't have any project you are going to use to practice along. So you can follow through with the design I'm actually doing right now. Okay, so I'm going to select my grid and just find the center right there, and also find the center of this part, and also find this as well. So I'm going to add my mullions to that as well. Add that mullion right there, this mullion, and also that mullion. Okay, so this is perfect. So I have that space in there. So I'm going to get back into level 1, and I'm going to start designing my kitchen right there. So I have to put a window in here. I want to put a window somewhere around here. So I'll head back into my Windows tab, and you notice Revit has some windows in there. I'm actually going to load one of them inside and then just enlarging that window in there. So I'm going to click on my window, get into edit type, and I'm going to find my width. I'm going to make my width 1500, and I'm going to give it a height. I'm okay with the height in there. Hit on apply, hit on OK, and we have that in there as well. So let me send this somewhere. Okay, so I'm going to change the height in there. I'm going to change my height to 1200. I'm going to change my height to 1200. Right, so this is perfect, and I'm going to send that still height to 1200 as well. Okay, so this is perfect. So I'm going to head back into my level 1. Now I'm going to be placing in my cabinets, all right, my worktops, and also my cabinets in my design as well. So I'm going to select this. I'm going to move this somewhere around here, and I have a bunch of families I'm going to be using for this design. If you don't have any families, you can actually go online and then you can download those families, and then you can employ them in your design as well. So I have a bunch of families. Let me just put that out in here. So I have these kitchen families in there. So I got these families when I actually paid and subscribed to Balkan Architects Patreon. Now some of you guys might know Balkan Architects, all right. He's like a top tutorial master in Revit. So I had these families from his Patreon, where he actually taught us how to use draw and tutorial on kitchen and every other thing concerning the kitchen layout. So he made these families in there, which I'm actually going to be using. So we actually use these families to design our kitchen. All right, so I'm going to start with my cooktops. Okay, so I'm going to start with the, let me just get into caseware cabinets, and then I'm going to start with my countertops. All right, so I'm going to need a countertop of this shape. I'm going to need a countertop of this L shape right there. So okay, I'm going to use this one. So I'm going to just drag and drop that in there, and then I'm going to put that to the corner right there. So I'm going to head into my 3D view and see what I have in there. Let me just check the steel height, get into the edit type, and then we have a height of 900. So our kitchen cabinets always need to have that height. I'm going to make that 925 in there. Hit on apply, hit on OK. Okay, so this is perfect. I'm going to hit on level 1, select that, and I'm going to drag this somewhere around here, and I'm also going to drag this also. So Balkan Architect actually made these families in there, which are very, very useful, guys. So I'm going to drag this somewhere around here as well. So this place is going to be like a backyard where we can use to access. I'm going to create a door here where we can access the backyard. All right, so this is perfect. Let me just measure what I have in there. So I'm going to measure all the way from here to here. Click somewhere around here, and I'm going to make this 4 meters. All right, so cancel that and just drag this to about 4 meters. Okay, so 3,400 is fine, and I'm going to want to put, we are designing an island in there, so I'm going to want to put another worktop. I'm going to put a countertop also in there as well. I'm going to put another countertop in there. Let me just kind of figure out which countertop I'm going to use for this. I'm going to use which one? Okay, so let me just get a straight countertop. All right, so I'm going to use this. Cancel that. I'm going to drag and drop that in there. It's going to open in my Revit 2025. All right, so this is perfect. And CM, and I'm going to hit on my space bar and just turn that to somewhere around here. Okay, so this is perfect. This is somewhere around here. Okay, so this is perfect. I'm going to reduce that. I'm going to extend that as well. And okay, so let me just measure what I have in there, and let me see. Okay, so just select that, and let's just make it 3,200. All right, 3,200 is fine. So we are going to delete that, and I'm going to move this somewhere around here. Okay, so somewhere around here is fine. It's fine. Let me just send this back a little. Okay, so it's fine. And now we are going to add our base cabinet in there. So I need to find one I'm going to put at the corner which is going to have this shape. So I'm going to find that. I'm going to go back in there and the base cabinets, and I think I'm going to use this. This is going to come in handy. Let me just drag and drop this in there, so I can place this somewhere around here. And it's not having that slanted view. Let me see if I have other families like that. Okay, so let me just drag and drop this in there as well. And let me see. Okay, hit on the space bar. Okay, so this family is what's going to work for me. I'm going to delete this, by the way. So I'm going to select this and I'm going to move that in there, and then I'm going to put that at the center in there as well. So let me head into the 3D view. Let me see what we have in there. So we have that base cabinet right at the corner in there as well, and I think it's all the way down. Let me just make sure it's exactly 900 as well. Let me make sure it's exactly 900, sitting exactly on that cabinet in there. So we are going to have our sink, our kitchen sink here, and we are going to have our gas cooktop here, and also going to have our refrigerator here. So we are going to play around in there. So we are going to place our sink here, and we are going to have our gas cooktop here. We are going to place that gas cooktop here with a kitchen hood, and then we are going to have our refrigerator somewhere around here. So we are going to make sure we have that triangle in there. We are make sure we have our kitchen work triangle in there. Now I think I read a slide where they said our kitchen work triangle, it shouldn't be less than 4 inches and also more than 9 inches. So it should be within that range, but I don't know if that is true. So you can research on that and you can drop that in the comment section. All right, so we can put that in the comment section, but I'm not going to mind about that article I read. So I'm going to make sure I just draw that in there, and I'm going to reduce. Let me just reduce this side because I'm going to put my refrigerator somewhere around here. All right, so let me just place in my refrigerator in there. Let me just head back and find my refrigerators, and let me just turn on my thumbnail. Let me drag and drop this in there. So I'm going to use this in there as well. We'll place this somewhere around here. Okay, so this is perfect, and you can turn off that writings in there. You see in there our label. You can change that and make it maybe an R. All right, so we are going to make this a capital R. Hit on apply, hit on OK, and it's just going to be an R in there. So it's going to be our refrigerator is going to come in here, our kitchen sink is going to come in here, and our gas cooktop. So let me just place in our sink in there and also place in our gas cooktop as well. Then we'll continue in our next video on what we are going to do. So let me just get my my sinks. Let me just get in there, and I'm going to place this double sink. I'm going to use this one, drag and drop this in there, and just place this. Now you need to make sure anytime you are designing, you have your kitchen sink right beneath a window in there. It's very, very important. You need to make sure about that. So we have this kitchen sink also right beneath that window in there, and then we are going to place our gas cooktop somewhere around here. So let me get back into my level 1 floor plan and also get back into my families, go back and find our gas cooktops in there, and I'm going to employ this in there. I'm going to use this one. So I'm going to slant this and place this somewhere around here. Okay, so I'm going to place this somewhere around here. It's perfect. Now I can't see that gas cooktop, so get into my 3D view and we can actually lift that up. Get in there. Let me see what backend actually made. General. Alright. Okay, cancel that, and height offset, we are going to keep that at 925. Let's keep that at 925. All right, so we have that coming on the top in there. So let me get back into level 1 in our floor plan, level 1. So it's not showing in there. Let me get back in to make this fine. All right, so this is perfect. So you can actually change this to fine, and then you can actually see your gas cooktop in there as well. So we have our gas cooktop here, and then we have our kitchen sink right beneath our window here. We're going to have a cabinet on this wall. All right, we're going to have a cabinet on that wall in there, and we can actually bring in a wall also in here as well, to kind of like protect our fridge, our refrigerators in there. So we're going to bring that wall in there as well. So this is perfect, and we can also do the same for this side as well, but we're going to leave that as it is. So we are going to continue in our next video. Make sure you've liked and subscribed to my channel. I'll catch you guys in episode 2 of our kitchen design series. Peace out.
I'm still working real hard on a Saturday. A future I don't see from a mile away.